Welcome to Go Publish Yourself. These are the author spotlights. I'm Justine Bilo, the author acquisitions manager for IngramSpark. All right, everyone, I'm very excited about the guest we have for you today. We are joined by the absolutely fabulous and wonderful Anna Todd. Anna is the New York Times and #1 internationally best-selling author of the After series. Hailed by Cosmopolitan as the biggest literary phenomenon of her generation, Anna began her literary career on the social storytelling platform Wattpad. Serialized on Wattpad in 2013, After has over 1.5 billion reads on the site. The print edition, published in 2014 by Gallery Books, an imprint of Simon & Schuster, has over 15 million copies in circulation and has been published in over 30 languages. A film by the same name is in the making and is due to release in 2019. Wow. Oh my gosh. Welcome, Anna. It's so great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is so exciting. And congratulations on the movie. So many fun things have been happening there.
Yes, I'm so excited. It's so busy, but so cool.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Your life is so crazy busy these days, but man, it just seems awesome.
Yeah.
So we have to start at the beginning, right? And like all good stories. And this all began with the love for a boy band. Is that right?
Yes. I pretty much had always been reading, but I never ever considered writing. It just seems so out of people from Dayton, Ohio without college educations don't just write. So I've never even considered it. And then I started reading fan fiction. I've always been reading fan fiction, like from Twilight, Harry Potter, but there is a ton of One Direction fan fiction, like tons, like thousands of millions probably of them.
That's crazy. I had no clue because I myself love some good Harry Potter fanfic, like love it. But One Direction, that's like so niche.
It's very, like I found it through a picture on Instagram my cousin sent me, and it was part of an Imagine, which is what made me start reading One Direction fan fiction and made me think about writing my own. But I really honestly just, like, I wish I could say, like, I had been trying to write since I was a child, but that's honestly not at all what happened. I've been reading my whole life, and I always liked to write in school, but I never went out of my way to, think I could ever be an author. So then it was like, I felt like I ran out of stories on Wattpad, which is insane because there's millions of stories, but I just couldn't find anything to read. And I only wanted to read One Direction fan fiction, though. I didn't want to read any published books. I didn't want to read any indie books. I didn't want to read any books whatsoever. I only wanted to read about Harry Styles. So then I was like, well, I ran out of them. I need to write my own, I guess. And I didn't think anyone was going to read it I thought it was just going to be like a little thing that I did for like that day. And then first chapter, and it was like this crazy, like there was this like rush and this like excitement, even though no one was reading it, but it was just like so fun to write it.
So you totally created this phenomenon out of just necessity because you wanted more fan fiction for, that's crazy. I love that. It's kind of how I feel about romance novels. It's like, I want more of this kind of romance novel. And so I guess I just have to write it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you found Wattpad, did you have like any inkling about how this was gonna like change the course of your life completely and thoroughly?
No. Honestly, whenever I was reading one of these girls' fan fictions on Instagram, and she said, I'm going to put it on Wattpad. And I was like, what in the world is that? Like, I was so not into like social media. I only had like a Twitter because I wanted to like follow with Twilight news. Like I was not, I did not want any more apps. I was like, I do not want another app. And then I had to know if she was the story. So I downloaded it, and then I'd never had heard of it before. I never knew that there were millions of people writing stories like just for fun. And it blew my mind. And like the depth of fan fiction on Wattpad at that time especially was like, it kept me busy for a while. But it was
totally.
I could barely even navigate the site. Like I would get confused when I would post a chapter, and then I would try to comment to someone and it wouldn't work. And it was like, I didn't know what the doing. I used to like submit tickets to their like tech people, like, I don't know how to do this. Can you help me with this? So funny now to think of those days, like waiting for them to respond to me.
That's great. And probably those tech people are like, I used to talk to Anna Todd all the time.
Right?
That's fantastic. And for our listeners out there, if you don't know what Wattpad is, it is pretty much like a storytelling platform where you can post chapters and people can comment on them. And it's a pretty cool thing. And it's a great way to kind of crowdsource your work in a way, and get feedback in real time. It's pretty neat. So go check it out. But, because we're talking about this platform, I realize people might not know what it is. So after it just kind of spiraled and turned into books, and you sold all these books, and now it's being turned into a movie, which is just the dream for an author. And so how has the process been for you so far?
It's been really incredible, honestly. It's been a long, well, not really long, but when I had the rights with Paramount for like 2.5 years, and when I first signed my first, it sounds ridiculous, my first movie deal, but when I first signed my first movie deal, I had no idea about anything. I didn't have any clue what any legal terminology meant. I just was like, I believe that anyone would even want this. So with the first deal, I honestly didn't have any control whatsoever. Like I had zero, like I was lucky they were even considering my stuff. And I thought the moment you get a movie deal, it's like you're, going to be picking out if you want Liam Hemsworth or Chris Hemsworth in your movie the next week.
Yeah, totally.
So then after a few years, I was like, wait a second, like is this like, what are we doing? Because I started learning more. I moved to LA. I started learning more about the film industry. So I feel like we should try to take it back from Paramount. And we did. They were great about it. Like, they were great. They just they're not making, no one really is making movies for women right now.
But that's a big move.
Yeah. And it was like, I'm like, if we had a smaller studio that we could have more control, make sure it's the right kind of movie, content for women, that's like what we actually want. So I found that, and it's been a really great process. I've been very involved in the casting. I've been in the casting meetings. I've seen people read. I've watched all the tapes.
That's so cool.
Like almost every meeting except for like things that are none of my business. But all the creative stuff are like, they've been so amazing with it. And we just found our leads a while ago, and it's driven me crazy not to be able to talk about it. Like,
that's such a big secret to keep from like all your fans and everything.
Yeah. And I was like, it drove me crazy. So then we finally announced last week. And it's just it's just amazing. I cannot wait. And we had another casting read yesterday, and it's just crazy watching people audition for my movie. So strange.
And it must be so crazy to like see these characters that you've had in your head for so long all of a sudden like come to life in front of you and be manifested in actors. That's got to be the trippiest thing ever.
It is so trippy. And it's even more trippy because the people who end up being my favorites for every role so far, literally every one of them, look nothing like what I thought they would look like.
Really?
None of them ever. It's not about the way they look. Like, they always bring in actors who look exactly like the roles, but there's always these like wild cards in there. And at first, when I look at the page, because they give you like a page with everyone's picture, and I'm like, what are some of these people doing on here? Like, this person makes no sense. And then they audition, and I'm like, it happened to me yesterday where one of the people, I was like, what in the world? Like, this guy doesn't look like anyone in my story at all. And then he came in, and I literally was like, he was the find of the day. Like, I'm obsessed with this guy. And he had like more in common with the character, even though he looked completely different. He felt like than anyone else. It's such a strange process.
Totally. And would you say that you can't judge a book by its cover then to have a book pun?
Totally.
Yeah. That's so crazy. And also like, this world is going to come to life on on the screen for you too. Like that's also got to be a crazy notion. And like, how do you grapple with that as an author? This is your baby.
I know. It's been really, it's been like up and down. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, this movie is going to be exactly like the book, which is never, ever what happens. But the more my movie becomes something separate, I mean, it's not really separate because I'm involved in every step, but it feels like its own thing, but also feels like the book. I don't know. It's so hard to explain. It's just this weird, like there are sometimes where someone has an idea like, Hardin should do this or Hardin likes this. And it's like, no, that's so not ever happening. But then there's other moments where the director will say like, what do you think about moving this scene up here or moving this? And I'm like, actually, that is like what I should have done. So it's like, I'm so happy with the process, but I think it's always good to remind my readers it's not going to be the same no matter what. And if it's too close, then it won't translate well because in the book you have inner dialogue, you have like pages and pages of it. And in a movie, we have 45 seconds to portray what I had 10 pages to do.
Exactly. And it becomes its own living, breathing piece of art that is like totally separate from the book at that point. And, it becomes its own entity, and that's what's crazy about the process, the adaptation process.
It is like I was so worried about like the cast and if they didn't like her hair color and all these things. And then I started thinking like, wait a second, most of the people that are going to watch this probably have never even heard of me. Like they've never read it. It's such a weird part, I think. I don't think I can grasp that just yet.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Yeah, and I think that like as the process progresses, it's going to be, even weirder. But more people will get to know you and get to know your books, which is great because they're awesome. And speaking of books, you have a new one coming out. Can we talk about it? The Brightest Stars.
Totally.
Yeah, this one's really exciting. And you've decided to go indie with it, which is so fun. What made you take that leap?
I think just wanting to step out of the box and try new things. I loved having Simon & Schuster. My editor at Gallery was amazing, and I couldn't have done any of the like craziness that's happened in the last couple of years without him.
Oh, totally,
I felt like I just kind of outgrew it, and I wanted to do all these things on my own, like different kinds of marketing and different types of tours and things. And, publishing, unfortunately, doesn't really have tons of resources, and they aren't, it's a very old school. I feel like it's like an old school thing. I feel like bad even saying that, but it's true, honestly. And it started being like, this is my career and I want to do this for a really long time. And I felt like I was all of these things on the side that I might as well just kind of take over and do it. And most of my books' success so far has been outside of the country. So I've learned so much from all these publishers and how they market and how they just engage with the reading population. And it's so different everywhere, of course, but I felt like just inspired and like, wait a second, we can do this. Like I could do this myself.
Yeah. And have some control over the product too. And be in charge of your own destiny a little bit. Yeah. It's a fun process. I'm excited for the new book. It's going to be great.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Oh yeah, it's going to be awesome. So we are running out of time, so I'm going to ask you one final question. And so what is the one thing above all others that you wish someone had told you before you began on your book journey? I know this is a hard one.
I think I would say I've been kind of thinking about it lately, so it actually ends up not being so hard. I've been thinking about it lately because I think I would just I wish someone would have told me like, I don't know how to word it, but I had imposter syndrome the first like 3 years of my career where I felt like I can't believe people let me into this like publishing world. I can't believe I have books. Like I can't believe people actually think I should be writing. Like I felt like I didn't earn it because I started meeting writers who had been writing for 15 years and they're incredible writers and no publishers will pick them up. Even when they publish indie, they're not selling. So it's like I started seeing the reality of what authors do and how they get published most of the time. And I was like, whoa, I just kind of like stumbled in the back entry. And so I started feeling like I didn't do enough to like earn this. But then I think just even talking to them and just owning my stuff is like, that is probably true, but I am going to do whatever I can to keep this. Like I am in now and it's my responsibility to like make sure my career keeps going from here. I maybe got in without 10 years of querying. I didn't even know what querying was, which is like who are like struggling to get published that like makes their ears bleed. It's like I totally had like imposter syndrome. So I wish someone would have been like, it's okay to like be appreciative of, or aware of not being, the most qualified, but it's also okay to be like, enjoy the happiness and not feel bad for it.
Totally. And you have books that truly speak to people and have touched a ton of people. So I don't believe you are an imposter at all, Anna. And I just hope you keep writing more and more wonderful books.
Thank you so much.
Of course. And thank you so much for coming on our podcast and talking with me today. This has been awesome. I'm so excited to have had you today. And I know that our listeners are going to be thrilled as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to Go Publish Yourself. We've had Anna Todd on the show today. Please go check out her After series. They're fantastic. And look for her new book, The Brightest Stars. It's coming out soon. So thank you for listening to the author spotlights. This has been awesome. And go check out our season 2 coming soon. Thank you, everyone.
Hi, everyone. This is Robin Cutler, Director of IngramSpark. Thanks so much for tuning in to this special Spotlight feature episode where authors and publishers just like you share their experience on what's worked for them. We hope these episodes inspire you on your own publishing journey. And if you're ready to publish today, visit the IngramSpark website. For more tips on publishing like a pro, subscribe to our podcast and weekly blog, or check out our new free online self-publishing courses available in the brand new IngramSpark Academy. Thanks for joining us today and talk to you soon.